Hello everyone and welcome to the game that was proclaimed by leeches to be the game of the month October. I don't think they've had something like this before, but now they do, and I imagine they will have a game of the month every month, and then maybe there will be a vote on the actual game of the year from all of the millions of games that are played. So this game, it's a Blitz game. It's a 3+2 game, 3 minutes plus 2 seconds increment, and it's played between two players who are unknown. The player with the white pieces is rated 2510 by the handle please resign now, and players with the black pieces is John Wump, rated to 2074. So quite a bit of a rating difference, as you will also see from the moves that are played. So please resign now has the white pieces and opens with pawn to e4. And what does John go for? He goes for pawn to d5. He goes for the Scandinavian defense, or maybe she, I have no idea who is playing here. We have e captures on d5, queen captures, and now knight to f3. Now, usually you will see knight to c3, but sometimes, okay, knight to f3 is played. But the John nonetheless goes queen to a5. He probably pre-moved it in expectance of knight to c3. But okay, it has been played before, even by grandmasters. Bishop to e2, knight to f6, and now castles. And here there are some games where bishop to f5 and bishop to g4 were played, but here we have c6, and it is now as of move 5 already that we have a completely new game. So black going for the standard setup. He wants to have c7 and d8 ready for the queen to retreat if needed. We have pawn to d4, and now bishop to f5. We have pawn to c4, grabbing more space in the center, knight b to d7, knight to c3, and now just pawn to e6. You could advance it all the way to e5, but e6 does appear to be more solid, with bishop to e3 and the rook to d8, nicely aligning the rook with the white queen. We have pawn to a3, preparing pawn to b4, and bishop to d6 now. b4 attacking the queen, queen to c7, and now even pawn to c5. Maybe a bit premature as you are weakening the b5 and d5 squares, but remember, it's a 3 minute plus 2 seconds increment game, so you have to play very fast. Bishop to e7, bishop to f4, also very nice, but he decides to go a bit passive. Bishop to e7, and now queen to b3. We have pawn to a6, and now pawn to a4, preparing pawn to b5. We have castles and pawn to b5. So going with the queen side attack, a captures, and now even c captures on b5. Now was probably a good idea to strike in the center with e5, but he captures on b5, knight captures on b5, and now queen to c6. So what do you do here? Knight back to c3, and now knight to d5. And it looks like black is definitely holding his own against a 2500 player. However, this move is already losing the game for black. Now, if white had enough time, you would, of course, find something like captures, and just rook to a7, win the b7 pawn, and that's pretty much it. The pawn cannot be defended. If you try this, then just bishop to f4, and you haven't really accomplished anything. You're going to lose the pawn. White will get a pass c pawn. You're going to put the rook behind the pawn and win the game very quickly. But like I said, 3+2, so bishop to b5 was played, attacking the queen, which is also winning. Queen to c7, and now comes the move that probably made this the game of the month, and that is queen captures on d5. Just taking the knight here, and it looks like you're not getting much. Okay, you might get the bishop as well, but no, you're gonna get this bishop, the knight, the bishop, and the bishop on f5. So okay, e captures on d5, now knight captures on d5, attacks the queen and the undefended bishop on e7, and notice how the bishop on f5 is undefended as well, and the e7 bishop will be captured with check. So okay, queen b8, we have knight captures on e7 with check, king to h8 only move, and now knight captures on f5. So you won 3 pieces for the queen, and you are up a pawn. So even by standards of material, you are now winning this game as white. But if black can, muddy the waters, it's possible for black to get back into the game as well. So h6, rook f to b1, nicely putting the rooks on the a and b file, knight to f6, and now bishop to c6, going ruthlessly after that b7 pawn as well. Queen to c8, now attacking the bishop and the knight on f5, and now there is only one way to save the game. not to save the game, but to actually win the game for white, and that of course is knight to e7. You defend the bishop and attack the queen, so the queen has to move. Queen e6 attacks the knight, and now rook captures on b7. Now look at this funny triangle. Rook defends the knight, knight defends the bishop, and bishop defends the rook. So white's position is very solid, and he does have two connected pass pawns in the center of the board. Rook to b8, and now comes rook a to b1, and now we have queen captures on e7. Giving back the queen, but of course you guys are trickier than that. You will not fall for just anything. Feel free to pause the video and win the game for please resign now while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on not falling for the trick. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is rook captures on b8. That's the winning move for white, because if you take the queen, you allow rook captures on b1 with check, then the bishop has to block, you lose the bishop as well, then the rook has to block, you take the rook as well, and then after knight captures, yes, white is still up 2 pawns, but black is up the exchange and should have additional sufficient resources to draw this game nicely. So rook captures on b8, that's the move you have to play. Congratulations if you found it. Rook captures on b8 with check, king to h7, and now just pawn to h3. You don't need this move, but it's much nicer to not to worry about the back rank issues, especially if you're low on time. And now you're just gonna make the position very solid and do your best to advance the pawns as safely as possible. Pawn to g6, we have rook to b7 now, queen to e6, and knight to e5. The f7 pawn cannot be defended, and that's pretty much it. Knight to d5 was played. Now comes rook captures on f7 with check, king to g8, and now bishop captures on d5. Queen captures and pawn to c6. So c7, c8 is coming, and there's nothing you can do about that. Pawn to g5 was played, pawn to c7, and now queen to c6, guarding the c8 square, giving up the queen for the rook on f7, but that's all there is. Knight captures on c6, king captures on f7, and now c8 queen, and it was in this position on move 39 that John Wampf resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. You're up a queen, knight, and bishop, and of course you are getting checkmated very, very quickly regardless of what you do. Let's say h5, you will get knight to e5 with check, king g7, queen to d7 with check. Anything you play doesn't really matter. Queen to f7 with check, and now any move with the pawn will result in a nice knight to g6 checkmate. So yeah, very nicely done by Mr. Please Resign Now. Licha says that this is the game of the month October. Do you guys agree? Was it really that special? I mean, so many games, millions of games are being played every month. Does this game deserve the Game of the Month award? So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Kevin Clark, Camilo Hiche, Schwarzhaupt, Randall Ingersoll, Stefan Rakocevic, and Andreas Rosenthal for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And if you have a suggestion from the European Team Championship that is being played currently, do also suggest in this video, and I will look into your suggestions. See you soon.